I think we got something.
Some trouble?
Yeah.
In River City?
Let's see if we'll give it another shot. See if this thing flies up. Go ahead and talk amongst yourselves.
And discuss.
Tell us about your latest project, Rick Gray.
Currently, I am repainting a giant mural in Valley Junction commemorating the American veteran. It's on the VFW.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Is it this? Are you like just retouching the same stuff, or is it a new painting?
No,
over?
I'm just going over the top.
Gotcha.
And, yeah.
Can you make the face look a little more like me?
I can. They won't let me, but I can.
Because I don't know if that would honor anybody, but it'd make me feel pretty good. I'd drive by and say, that's made in my likeness.
There's me in the Revolutionary War.
I'll never forget that day.
Now, who was to say there wasn't a guy that looked like Dan fighting with the muskets and everything?
Let's see, my father was in World War II. I look an awful lot like him.
There you go. I think it'll be work. Hey, I think we're back. Hey, you're listening to Live from the Path. Sorry about the issues we had there. Thanks for listening tonight. Anyway, just to rehash, here's what we have going on, right? We're going to be doing non-biblical signs of the apocalypse. I'm going to give you a news story. You're going to tell me whether this is a sign of the end times, one of those things that God said not to write down and don't put in the book. But maybe we can use just a little bit of a discernment here and see if we can pick that out. We're also going to do some, we're on week 16 of the guy from GodIsImaginary.com. His 16th proof that God is imaginary has to do with looking at the contradictions, I assume, within the scriptures. So we're going to take a look at those. That's going to be the first thing we're going to do. And finally, we're going to hit some advice. People need help. Pants is here to help. They didn't know Pants was going to help, but that's what he's here for. He's here to give solid advice in the smooth baritone that everyone enjoys, because it just goes down a little easier when Pants is saying it. So that's what's going to go on here at Live from the Path tonight. I do thank you for hanging out with us.
And a little known secret is we do hear the voice of Pants quite often.
That's true, yeah.
In Live from the Path.
He is. If you've ever listened to the start of the show, that's good old Pants Whetstone there, rocking the opening. He handles all that stuff. He also handles the buffers, the voiceover buffers on the YouTube channel.
You are Live from the Path.
See?
I feel like I'm right there.
It's solid gold. It's
Feels
solid.
like we're
gold.
live from the past.
It's like it's
right
just
now.
like live. It's awesome. Do that again.
Here's what we got.
I do what I can.
Let's go ahead and jump right into our GodIsImaginary.com man. Here's what he's got to say. Proof number 16 that God is imaginary. Contemplate the contradictions. A thoughtful person who thinks about God cannot help but notice the amazing contradictions. They are everywhere you look. Here's one very simple example. On the day Moses comes down from Mount Sinai with the stone tablets containing the 10 Commandments, he discovers that the Israelites have created a golden calf. To punish the people, Moses gathers a group of men and takes the following action in the book of Exodus, chapter 32. Quote is, Then Moses said to them, This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. Each man strap a sword to his side, go back and forth through the camp from one end to the other, each killing his brother and friend and neighbor. The Levites did as Moses commanded, and that day about 3,000 of the people died. So, one minute we have God carving into stone, thou shalt not kill. Then the next minute we have God telling each man to strap a sword to his side and lay waste to thousands. Wouldn't you expect the almighty ruler of the universe to be slightly more consistent than this? 3,000 dead people is a lot of commandment breaking. Obviously that is a total contradiction. The reason why you find contradictions like that in the Bible is because God is imaginary. When you look at slavery, which he's already talked about in a previous proof, says you get the same feeling of total contradiction. It is obvious to modern human beings that slavery is an abomination. The fact that God is a huge proponent of slavery, which we talked about, was not true. And the Bible shows us that God is imaginary. Let's see. If you think about it, you can see the contradiction in a Christianity Today cover story about 5 reasons torture is always wrong. What does God plan to do to people who do not accept Jesus Christ as their Savior? According to the Christian faith, he plans to torture them for eternity in the fires of hell. Since we all know that torture is always wrong, we have a contradiction. According to Genesis, God also tortures all women for eternity with painful childbirth. For her transgression of eating the fruit, God says to Eve, I will greatly increase your pains in childbearing. With pain you will give birth to children. This, of course, is torture. Inflicting excruciating pain on someone as punishment is the dictionary definition of torture, as you can see here. Infliction of severe physical pain is a means of punishment or coercion. So according to the Bible, God is the universe's all-powerful torturer. Unfortunately, according to Christianity Today, torture is always wrong. The fact that a perfect God is doing something that is always wrong shows you the contradiction. If you would simply look at and accept Pants, how obvious these contradictions are, you can see the truth. God is imaginary. The evidence is all around you.
I enjoy the fact that he's missing out on the fact that God's giving us the ability to have the choice to either follow him or not.
Is that, and that's response to the particular point of damning people to hell? Is that what you're saying? Because the childbirth thing, that doesn't really fit with what you're saying at all.
Well, no, that's still fits.
I could just choose not to have
Choose to
to.
get
God-
pregnant, technically. I mean,
God said, "Don't eat the fruit." You ate the fruit.
Oh, but I didn't eat the fruit.
No, but the lady did.
but you would have
So-
eaten the fruit.
Yeah, that's the
No,
rub of
see,
it.
okay, yeah. I mean,
I would have
the
eaten the
human
fruit.
nature
You said,
thing,
"Go ahead,
like
Amanda,
that-
have a bite."
Like you can be in the garden for a good long time. Every one of us is going to be like, okay, that one fruit. That'll look
Yeah, that one guy said something pretty compelling about that fruit.
Everything
That
else is
one.
good. This has got to be good.
Dan, what are your thoughts on this Moses deal? On the commandment, "Thou shalt not kill," and then directly after, he's wiping out people.
Well, okay. I noticed as you were reading through his argument
Yep.
that he keeps shifting gears between individual responsibility and, say, government responsibility or God-given commands. The first command was "have no other gods before me," which they blatantly disregarded and put other god before them in the form of a golden calf. And wanting to go back to Egypt and all the sin that was going on, and his kind of like, here's the deal: if you're going to follow me, you're going to follow me. If you're not, you're not. So you're not. That's fine. I've got these guys who are going to follow me, and my command is for them to take these guys out. I don't have to understand it. He's God. I'm not going to question him. He's sovereign. I'm not. So it wasn't like when in the Ten Commandments, when Moses says, "Do not commit murder," really God's saying, "Don't commit murder." That means I'm not to go around and say, that Rick Gray guy, I think I'm going to go ahead and take him out because he irritates me. You know, that's murder. If God says you're going to take out this specific group of people, which he doesn't do these days, by the way, before he makes that leap. Oh yeah, so what? God told you to kill that baby? I mean,
Yeah.
No, he doesn't do that. It was a cleansing, a purification of the people who would become the people of God, and so he was going to start out with the right group and those who chose to follow. So that wasn't murder; that was following God's instructions.
Well, and a lot of where he's coming from is, if you start with the point that say there is no God, then any person that is trying to execute justice on behalf of a non-existent God, is going to be ridiculous, right? But if you start from a different premise and say there is a sovereign king of the universe who has created everything and put it into motion, and then here's his justice in one way or another. He says, look, do not execute your own justice by murdering people on your own behalf. However, my justice looks like this. These guys have totally rejected me. They're serving another god. Here's what I want done.
And the interesting also thing in this is he is missing his own point. If his point is there is no God, he's not making that point. He's just saying, I don't agree with God.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
He's saying, I don't like what God had to say, so therefore he must be imaginary. Again, making himself God, and he's on the throne. And
he could, and I've seen it made, is someone tried to argue that God is a moral monster, that he's a monstrosity, and that he acts immorally.
which doesn't disprove him.
Correct. And so it'd be different if that's what he was trying to prove, but it doesn't make him not God.
He needs to rename his website idon'tlikegod.com.
Yeah, I disagree with
50
God.
reasons I don't like
Or
God.
more appropriately, 50 ways in which God does not agree with me.
Exactly.
.com.
50 ways to leave your God.
So what about the childbirth is torture? Seems like a bit of a stretch to me.
It's not torture. It's consequences for that evil woman eating of the fruit.
Yeah.
While the man sat there and begged and pleaded, please don't do it. Be pure like me. That's
Really,
not how
I
it
know.
works.
That's not how it happens.
It's same
The failure
as
of a man.
killing all those people as Moses came down, because they knew, okay, no, it's me. I'm your God. You don't make any other gods. If you do, there's consequences.
Exactly.
Don't eat this fruit. There's consequences.
Yeah, so I look at this and I don't say contradiction. I say consistency. God says, "Don't do this. There will be consequences to this," and you do it, and there's consequences. And you're like, "I can't believe this happened.
What is this?
What happened to my life?" Well, I got a few ideas.
Well, it's the concept of divine consequences or human consequences.
Yep.
I mean, if you have God stepping in and saying, okay, I'm directly telling you this is you doing my will, or, he's moving an army in and saying, okay, you guys aren't listening to me, so I'm going to let these guys take over.
Yeah,
And,
right. Yep.
He did that several times too.
Agreed.
So,
Babylonian.
it's like, it's always, it's like the chessboard, we can't comprehend the game. So,
We're just a pawn.
As a pawn or a sub pawn, you're just looking at it like, oh, it's too big to even comprehend.
God
Yeah.
must be imaginary.
Well, yeah, and who am I to look at how God does what He does and say,
Yeah.
well, I don't think this is the right way to go.
Make your own
I
planet.
certainly would have done differently. I ate the fruit. You should listen to me.
Now, have you ever thought? And I don't know if I've ever thought of that until like just a few moments ago. We were talking about that moment of the fruit. What Adam was standing there when Eve ate the fruit. I wonder, was he just thinking, well, God said if you eat this, you will surely die. So he's thinking, well, Eve, you go ahead and eat it. We haven't been together that long. If you die, I got zebras. God will make me another one. What's he thinking?
It's here's what I think. That sounds like a very man's perspective. He's going to try to get God on what he considers to be a technicality. You will surely die.
I didn't eat it.
Yeah,
Look what she did.
What was his defense, right?
I want to find out if she really does.
Look what this woman you gave me.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
That even gives me a lower view of Adam than I had before.
It's an embarrassment.
If God says she'll die, let's see if she does.
That sounds like a man action, and he is the source of the men you look and see before you today.
Man, we can't use Adam and Eve in the whole marriage ceremony anymore. Love your wife like Adam. Go ahead, push her off the cliff and see if she dies. That doesn't work anymore. I gotta rethink that.
Well, but it's
You're gonna defend Adam, aren't you?
no. I'm gonna.
I'm gonna get Jen on the line right now. Hey, Jen.
Well, like ultimately, we're all at. I mean, that's the rub, right? Is ultimately we're all at it. We all make that same choice in one way or another, regardless of whether we think we are capable of doing better or not. And putting yourself, like recognizing the position of the biblical Adam, and then recognizing yourself in the mirror as him, like it should be a humbling spot for you.
Yeah.
But I mean, you have to break that rule to learn the consequence. I mean, Adam. It's kind of like a toddler, or I mean,
I gotta touch. You're the guy who had to touch the stove. You couldn't have just.
Yeah, I would never.
Mom
believe
says
that
it's hot. You're like,
yeah.
I don't know.
It's like, but is the stove hot?
What
like
will
the
happen
light
to the
bulb,
I
mouse?
always thought Mom's pretty smart. I don't think I'll touch the stove.
Yeah, no, I always thought everyone was trying to pull something over on me. I distinctly remember like bedtime was a horrible ordeal for me. And I would like do the little army crawl down the hallway whenever my parents had friends over. And I
you're
thought
missing
for
out on
sure that they had some amazing toy or game or something that they were keeping secret
Doing
from
murals
me.
on the wall when you're not.
Yeah, and I get out there and I'm like spying on them, and they're talking. Like grown-ups are just
boring.
talking. Like, but why would you even keep that secret? That's like, no, that's all boring. Like,
Going
I'm
to
just
bed.
Gonna
What is
go
this?
back to bed.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna go to bed. This is what you do.
Is this St. Elmo's fire? This is what happens when I sleep. I know
30-something out here. This is
thank you.
horrible.
Timothy Dutton is a disappointment. So grace may abound. No.
I still don't like our. I don't like his reasoning. I'm not gonna say I don't like the guy. Actually, I kind of feel for the guy because he's the God is imaginary dude. He's stretching. He's trying. He just tried to fill 50 slots, and he's had about one legitimate question. And that was last week. And all the other ones have been like, yeah, he doesn't agree with me. He can't be God. 'cause
And
look at me.
the cover story for 5 Reasons Torture is Always Wrong from Christianity Today.
the source of God.
Yeah, God speaks through Billy Graham and Christianity Today.
Copyright 1972.
This is how it goes. And it was this line of logic that I love. So according to the Bible, God is the universe's all-powerful torturer. Unfortunately, according to Christianity Today, torture is always wrong. So put the two together. The Bible plus Christianity mean God is abhorrent to me.
Poor guy.
Well, okay, here we go. Understanding that he's provided an additional set of information, understanding the rationalizations. It has actually been stated by one reader that hell does not involve torture. Hell is nothing more than a separation from God, not a fiery place of torture, according to the reader. Therefore, in his mind, he's able to rationalize that God is not a torturer. In order to believe this rationalization, this reader has to completely ignore the Bible.
True.
We're in agreement with this man. Yeah. If you read the Bible, you cannot miss the fact that hell is a place of torture. According to the Bible, hell is a place of eternal torment. Here are several Bible verses that describe hell. And his winnowing fork is in his hand, and he will thoroughly clear his threshing floor, and he will gather his wheat into the barn, but he will burn up the chaff with unquenchable fire. The Son of Man, and that's Matthew 3:12. Also hits Matthew 13:41 and Matthew 13:49. A place of unquenchable fire is obviously a place of torture. What you need to do is stop rationalizing and accept the evidence that you see everywhere. Again, one does not lead to God is imaginary. It leads to a God.
This guy's had bad theology.
Yep, he's just he's used the rationalization from a man who obviously does not read the Bible clearly.
The source of truth is this Christianity today. He doesn't agree with this guy with bad theology. Therefore, it's like, dude, you gotta do better than that.
Yeah.
I'm not a very smart guy, and I can outthink him.
So, here's one of the things. There's actually I'm gonna admit that this is a pretty cool poster that there's an atheist organization that's put out, and it's got like a list of 300 contradictions, and it's got them all like tied together through the book, different books. I mean, it was well done. I mean, it's not correct, but it was well done, and I think it makes sense. Like reasonably, I could have this poster up in my office if I had an office or something. I could have this poster up somewhere where, as I study the Bible, I say, you know what, something doesn't seem to be quite matching up. I need to learn more. I need to pray. I need to pray about it. I need to think about how this fits in with God's character, and say, what am I missing? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's completely reasonable to say, hey, man, in my mind right now, these two things don't jive. What's the difference? I can look at the Moses thing where he says, thou shalt not kill, and then directly people are being wiped out. And the distinction, as Rick properly pointed out, was one is a wrath of man versus a justice of God. He says, don't take it into your own hand. I will repay.
Yeah.
However, it is mine to pay, and I will. And here's how you're going to do it in this particular instance.
Yeah.
And so, there's a distinction there. I don't look at the two and say, well, throw the whole thing out, right? It has to be able to be reconciled, because I believe in a God of consistency. His character is always the same, so he can't be different. So something about these two has to connect, and you can see that if you study full counsel, full character.
Yeah.
But but that's where I go, right? I seek what potential contradiction or my misunderstanding. I go back to God's word and look for reconciliation.
Yeah, we assume maybe we don't see the whole picture and there's more to know.
Yeah.
Someone who doesn't believe assumes it's a contradiction and therefore proves God's imaginary.
Right.
But they're nitpicking and taking one little part and
they're always disproved by people who have actually read the Bible and can say, well, no, that's what's...
Well, and even people that, study the Bible to prove that it doesn't, do studies to prove God doesn't exist. And they're like, okay, well...
I guess he does.
Actually, he does,
no, I'm not sure.
That didn't work.
Actually, my oldest daughter and I have a 6-year-old that had this very conversation tonight because we were reading the Ergomeyer Children's Bible about Jesus being tempted, and we were talking about Satan twisting Scripture, choosing one thing on his own and kind of twisting it around. And see, I love this is why Jesus talks about faith of a child, right? Because I think now, do you think that Jesus is going to be fooled by Satan's twisting of Scripture? And of course, the kid knows. He's like, no, this is not possible.
He's no dummy.
Seriously, I wrote it. I am well aware of what's in there. But we permit stuff to be twisted around and just to put that little thing in your mind, just like Satan did with Eve, right? Did he really say? It's that same thing. If I can only twist this a little bit, because here's the truth of it, and I think we run the risk of being dishonest here if we don't say that if there is something that is not true in the Bible, the whole thing's bunk. You say it's just wrong. My God is not real. My faith is false. I'm spending my life as a fool if there's things in there can be not true, because it does not reconcile a character of God that is a God of truth. So if he's false, then he's not a God of truth, and everything's out the window. Yeah. And we're being dishonest if we can't see it like that, which means that's a lot of defending to do. That's a lot of defense of the faith and reconciling God's character with things that go on. And are there things that I as a human will always misunderstand? Probably. We got after that talking about twisting the Scripture talk, that she goes, when Jesus prays, he's just praying to himself, right? That's kind of wild. And I thought, well, kind of. So he's praying to God the Father, and then I'm sitting there trying to get this concept of the Trinity to
Just
a,
like this.
to a 6-year-old.
And I can't understand it.
And so after I got about a minute in, I said, here's the thing to recognize. God, we're told in the Bible that there's just some stuff that we're not going to get. We're not, this is God obviously understands it, and she goes, he'll explain it to us when we get there. And I said, that's correct. It's not that the concept can't be understood, but it can only be understood on our level. Like, generally what I'll try to put into something is like rationalization as to why it is this way. And that's where I'm never going to be able to reconcile. God's why and my why are completely different, right? I do petty things. God does always the right thing. Our whys will never come together consistently where I'm like, we see eye to eye in this one, brother. Chet says, another interaction with a youngin. She told me tonight that she could have saved Jesus from talking to the devil by hitting the devil with a rock after telling him it was a present. I like the ruse.
Yes.
Hey, it's a present.
Do you like it? Upside your head?
The gift of pain.
Oh man, I didn't see that coming. All right, well, you're listening to Live from the Path. That was you know what? I better see what we're coming up next week. So that was that was number 16. We're trucking along on our 50-week voyage to figure out why God is imaginary. Don't dismiss some of these questions for where they could be important. In that there are people who run into barriers in their Christian faith because of stuff like this. Okay, this guy's obviously just trying to pick a fight. Right, but the basis of some of these are completely reasonable to me. They're questions that I've had. There's things that I've had to think about and try to reconcile with God's word and see what they look like in His character. And it's although we have a little fun with the premise, which I'm sure he would have a little fun if the same guy watched our show and picked it apart.
Exactly.
Right, but generally speaking, these are a lot of them are decent questions. Some of them are not, but a lot of them are decent questions that I think people of faith want to say, how am I supposed to see this? How do I reconcile this with this? And I think it's an appropriate question, an appropriate discussion to have. The question is, are you actually trying to find an answer, or are you just trying to give God the middle finger?
Right.
And so that's the basis of. That's why it doesn't make it valuable if all we're doing is like trying to read what this guy wrote and kind of mock it for a while. Like
Right.
that's, first of all, it's a bad heart, and second of all, it doesn't value anything.
But it's fun.
It is fun, and there is value to it in actually seeing the underlying question of these are for the most part decent questions that we should be going through. And can we defend the faith as we're asked to? Do we have a defense of our faith? And we should be able to do that. So let's see, where was that next week? Where'd he go? Okay, proof number 17 for next week is think about leprechauns.
All right.
This one
Brought to you by
smells.
Lucky Charms.
This one smells as if I've seen it before, but I guess we will see.
We must have Lucky Charms as a sponsor next week.
Yeah,
Or at least a box sitting here snacking.
Something.
And,
That's true.
Yeah.
I feel like
Some
I don't.
yellow stars and pink clovers.
I eat.
like it.
I feel like I can't take people eating cereal in front of me anymore. I just can't. I used to
don't
be
eat
able to
it.
do it, but like I mean the slopping around and
My thing is chips.
You can't have people eat
I'll
chips?
totally take cereal over like a bag of Doritos.
it's like just the
It's
noise.
the crunchy. Yeah, I'll take Slurpee over crunchy for sure.
Drop, dribble, dribble, like
I do remember that
stuff in the beard.
my youngest brother used to sit between me and my other brother when we were eating cereal every morning, and he couldn't eat because of the sounds that the
Take
two
the
of
sound
us
of
made.
cereal,
Me
yeah.
and Pete were so disgusting to him that he just lost his appetite every morning.
Let me ask you this question, Ray. This is I'm gonna get a little personal here.
All right.
If someone were to offer you, I mean, your favorite cereal of all time, haven't had it for years, and they had eaten half of it and offered you the remainder, would you be willing to eat it?
Absolutely.
Pants, you would too.
Oh yeah.
Dan,
probably-
there's
I'm
no
out.
way.
I'm
There's
out.
no way it's happening. A half-eaten bowl of cereal is like the
But your-
grossest thing
but
I can
you
think
said
of.
your favorite
I don't
cereal
care.
that you haven't eaten in years.
Because that implies you're getting to the. I like it crunchy. When it gets soggy, yeah. So
Yeah.
the best part's like the first 10 spoonfuls.
It's not only, okay, fine. I'll even say it's within. He's taken 3 bites. It's still got some crunch to it, but
Yeah,
I mean,
still
he's
did.
been in there
Uh-huh.
slopping around in it.
I have a 2-year-old at home, and I don't get to eat anything that doesn't have slobber on it. I mean,
Yeah,
I
you're at a
can't eat a
different stage.
sandwich. I can't eat a bowl of cereal. I have to hide in a closet if I want to eat
What are you-
something by
what are you
myself.
doing in there?
Yeah, and he's like, Daddy.
I have
So
gas. Leave me alone.
I'm like, I gave up years ago. Actually, my older sister, she made a point of never letting me eat an entire sandwich by myself. She would be like, "Can I have a bite?" And she would pester me for a bite until she got one. And she'd eat a bite of every sandwich for years and years. So I'm not very proprietary about my food. And if it's my favorite cereal. Now, if it's just like Golden Grams or something, like I'll take it or leave it. I'd rather have a fresh bowl.
So
but
what
if
is
we're
your
talking peanut butter Captain Crunch, like, oh, forget about it. That stuff's still crunchy after half a bowl. And, and especially if it's like if we're talking like a family member or somebody close, I mean, I'm not going to, I'm not going to
Not the
ask a
homeless
stranger for the rest of his, yeah.
You're not going to finish that,
dude
are
with
you?
the scabrous lesions on his face. I'm like, well, I might pass. But, if my wife was the one that started the bowl,
If
I'm
he's not
like,
gonna eat
I'm
it,
totally going to finish that.
Pants, no stipulations. You'll eat that half-eaten bowl of cereal?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know
he-
I've eaten worse.
If,
I mean,
if the guy comes up to me and says, hey, you want this? I'm full. I'm like, well, yeah. Yeah, Ben, you haven't put anything in it, have you?
I like the poison check, the honesty of the man. Oh, no, it's fine.
All right.
Yes, have some.
You can trust me. I appreciate it. You want the bowl back?
Oh, man, that just sounds really gross to me.
yeah.
That was good.
It's the same thing as wet bread in the sink. Like that gives me the willies. The 3-bucket willies. I can't stand it.
Wet bread in the sink?
Yeah, like
I don't
if,
see the
like if someone eats a
relation.
let's say you got done eating dinner and there's like a half a piece of bread or a sandwich or whatever, and somehow it doesn't get scraped off in the garbage, it gets into the sink, and then some mindless Nimrod goes in there and starts running the water. And now you got like a soaked sandwich. It's like petting the underbelly of a sick turtle.
That would be pretty disgusting.
It's gross. I can't take it. Those are the two. I'm out with it. I'll put a sheet over the sink and just call it a day. We're moving. I don't want anything to do with it. I'm the biggest ninny about it too. I just want whoever's responsible is fixing it. I'll stick my hand in a lot of stuff, to be honest with you. But like wet bread in the sink, I'll find the guy responsible and like go get that out of there.
That's good to know.
That's like your raw chicken to Jared Roy.
He don't. Oh yeah. Yep. Pants, you have the personal characteristics of a homeless man. Is a general thought.
It's true.
Okay, brilliant.
I'm going to say, you were talking about, I still slobber on everything.
Yeah.
I drool.
Well,
This is so good.
I do what I want.
Yeah. No. That's shown. All right.
Show me the signs of the apocalypse!
All right. We're going to rock back into non-biblical signs of the apocalypse. Some of the things that were going to happen at the end of times, the Lord said, don't write that down. And we may have come upon some. So we're going to take a look at those tonight. Things that are in the news. We need to know if the end of the world's coming. I'm not much of an end of the world guy. As a matter of fact, I see a lot of guys spending way too much time on it. Preachers even. It really rubs me the wrong way. I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
There's people living and dying right outside your road who don't, if they don't know Jesus, they don't give a crap about your prediction. So why don't we work on the no Jesus part?
I just think it's really funny how many people are talking about the Mayans in the 2012, and I'm like, people are shocked when I tell them, I can guarantee you the world will not end in December of this year. I promise it won't.
It's not going to happen.
Because thief in the night, that's not a thief in
That's
the night.
not a thief in the night, right.
That's
Kinda
a
ringing the
thief-
doorbell.
That's a thief that bought a billboard and he put the date on it.
Yeah.
So I know
Yeah.
when it's not going to be, and that's going to be the middle of December this year.
Do you think now? All right, pardon the question, Pants, but then think about this for just a second. Do you think that it's possible that I could? What is that, Dan? Are you listening to the show?
I was trying to
He's
find
listening to
out.
last week's show.
I got it on my phone. I'm like, wait a minute.
Okay, so Pants, do you think I could delay the return of the Lord by buying a new fresh billboard daily saying today is the end? Just a thought.
I think it would have to be a different person every day. I mean, if it's the same person, after a week or so, you've already discredited yourself.
So people aren't listening.
So
It could still be Thief of the Night.
You need,
because nobody trusts me.
You need somebody who has plausible believability every day. So
That would take a lot of work.
Yeah,
I think the Lord knows I can't pull that off.
Yeah, that's
I'm coming back.
That's
regardless.
some crazy networking. You can do some amazing things through Facebook, but I think that's beyond the realm.
Yeah. Doesn't it pretty much say throughout the Bible, be prepared because
Jesus is coming.
That is the
busy.
theme. Jesus says
Yeah.
over and over and over in
So-
so many different ways and different stories.
As a Christian,
yeah, just be ready.
you do. You do partially believe. Yeah, tomorrow is the last day.
So now would it be? So I could get a long-standing billboard with like a thief like character that says, "It may be tonight."
It could be.
Yeah.
Matthew 9.
So
Whatever it
here's
is.
what I don't like about. I love the people and everything, but when they really get all crazy about the end time stuff, is it's always way in the future. You ever notice that? It's like, well, this has to happen and that has to happen, and they're like big things,
Yeah.
We got to rebuild the temple. Well, if you're gonna do it biblically, you got to get the blue heifer ashes. I mean, there's all this stuff. You look in the scripture, it has to happen. It's like, so, which means we're okay. He's not coming. Because
Yeah.
they got to do this first, and that war has to happen, and this has to happen. And it's like,
Right.
Jesus said, no. It could literally be any moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where they missed the point.
That's yeah.
Yeah, I read a book, and the guy said there was this planet on an elliptical orbit in our universe. So like right now, it's way over on the other side of the sun, and it comes back every 3,600 years or something. And and
So
he's
that'll
like,
be it.
So it's
Obviously.
and like they're aliens who seeded this planet, and they come back and forth every time the planet loops back by, and then but that's a year for them.
Coming around again.
3,600 years. And you're like, well, they'll be coming back through, but it's going to be another 187
little
years
party
from
night
now.
when they come and
I'm
see
like,
the
well,
planet.
see, yeah, anyone who could conceivably be reading your book is already going to be dead. So it's all
Just disprove me.
hyperbole. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
He
I'm
just saw the Star Trek episode
you're
where they
like
had that
throwing darts
vacation
at a
planet.
board. You're just making stuff up.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
And, it's silly.
And there's a lot of time and there's a lot of effort and a lot of guys that spend time dissecting stuff and saying, I am a pre-millennialist, amillennialist. They just like all this stuff about the end of times. And here's where I fall. I feel like I want to know that I'm good for it, and past that, I'm pretty sure God's good for it, right?
Yeah.
So like whatever it is, he's got it. I'll whatever it happens, I'm sure there'll be a line, and he'll say, "Right this way, Foost." It's not like, "Hey, do you know what's going to happen? Because if you don't, you're out." I feel like
You were wrong.
I feel like he'll have it under control, and he doesn't need me critiquing as to whether it went to the way that I thought it was going to happen or not. So, like, as long as I'm good on this end, I feel like things are going to be fine on the other side,
Yeah.
and I waste very little time and energy thinking or doing anything about it, except for to get more people good on this side of the deal.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I thought it was really interesting. You did a sermon several years ago where you were saying that when you first started preaching, you were convinced that Jesus was coming back in your lifetime.
Yeah.
And then progressively it's like, well, maybe that's a little conceited. Or I mean,
I think every
it's
generation
that-
should look at it that way, though.
Well,
Yeah.
and that gives you the motivation to
Exactly.
have a fire. I mean,
Live like you were dying, or the
Yeah.
Pants was. That's my new slogan, Pants. What do you think of it? Okay, non-biblical signs of the apocalypse. Here we go. Your job, chat, and here in studio, is to decide whether this is a sign of the end times or whether we have a little bit longer. Here we go. A South Florida woman who is accused of injecting people with Fix-A-Flat and other substances in a black market buttock-enhancing business was released on bond Friday. O'Neill Morris, 31, posted $25,000 bond and walked out of the Broward County Main Jail. Morris' bond was reduced from its original $150,000 as part of an agreement with prosecutors, said Morris's attorney, Michael Muir. We decided in negotiations in exchange for a bond reduction to waive our right to a speedy trial, which typically is supposed to take place within 175 days. Morris will also be placed on house arrest with a monitor and has to surrender her passport. Morris, who police said was born a man and identifies as a woman, was arrested in late July on charges of practicing medicine without a license and manslaughter. Oh, shoot, I shouldn't have laughed before this. And manslaughter in the death of Shatarka Newby, 32. She died in March in Tallahassee from what an assistant medical examiner called massive systemic silicone migration as a result of cosmetic silicone injections, according to authorities. Morris has been arrested multiple times for performing cosmetic procedures without a license in Broward and Miami-Dade counties, but Newby is the only person who has died from her treatments. Morris maintains she had nothing to do with the death, and we intend on proving her innocence in reference to that particular case in court. So a Florida woman is charged with manslaughter for practicing medicine without a license because she is injecting Fix-A-Flat in a woman's buttocks.
So that's like tire stuff.
Yeah. Your tire, like, it needs something to seal the rubber so that your tire will seal the hole, whatever thing's in it. And this is going in someone's behind as cosmetic surgery.
As an injection, like in a bun.
Doesn't that throw you off, like, just before it happens when you hear that shake, 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 shake? I mean, doesn't that, you say, hey, man, something's not right. Something's not right about this operation. I heard the shaking and the thing that's in the can.
The
Medical
fact that you're
procedure
doing
via
it in-
aerosol can is always bad.
I would think the fact you're doing it in some dude's van would probably also make you think, well, these surgical lights just aren't like they used to be. This Obamacare is
Well,
just,
and
I don't know.
And that's, I mean, it's like Botox parties or anything. I mean, if you're inviting someone into your house, or especially cosmetic
House.
yeah, or their house or garage, or I mean, why it's ludicrous to try and save money doing that.
Yeah.
right? I mean, if you're gonna do it,
Yeah.
do it. If you can't afford it, don't do it.
And seriously, how much do you trust Phyllis, your friend who goes, hey, you want to come over for some Botox? I got a needle and some fat.
Well, and even Botox. Best case scenario, you're shooting poison into your face.
Yes.
You're killing those nerves so that they don't wrinkle. So it's a bad idea.
I'm the guy who doesn't even take a Tylenol unless it's really desperate.
Yeah.
So the thought of injecting a foreign substance into my body just to
Perhaps I'll look better.
To look better to other people.
Yeah, to make my-
that's, ultimately,
Aren't I
it's like
appealing?
your self-esteem is so damaged that
I'm totally connected to how people view me.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's, but it's self-efficacy. It's not I don't know. I've never cared what other people thought. I knew from a very early age that I was really weird and to just not even try. I watched my brother and sister try and fit in, and I'm like, that's not for me.
That looks like a waste of time.
Wow, that's a lot of energy.
You can eat those Crunch Bears?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I'll eat the rest of that peanut butter crunch. You can have the golden grams.
I mean, so they're like putting him in the butt cheeks.
Yeah. I
So
assume
they're
like
putting bigger butts.
yeah. So I mean, cut hole in buttocks, insert Fix-A-Flat, plastic tube, off. Big buttocks.
I mean,
seals-
is that what comes out of that? Is that air or is it?
There's like a
is
tar-ish.
it
I'm thinking of visualizing like a tar.
I think it's air, but it's got to be mixed with something that seals rubber.
seals a hole.
That's not good.
I don't want to put anything that seals a hole in that end of my body.
No, yeah.
There's some holes I want to keep going.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
That
that's what I
hole
was
needs to
thinking.
be not sealed.
It's
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to seal that whole. That sounds like the end for that person.
well, it was the end for one. Literally.
So the chat said, I mean, this type of behavior, the chat says, is the end of times. Like this is one of the things that was not written down in the Bible, but is an indication that the world is ending its near is when people are injecting Fix-A-Flat in another's buttocks, doing medical treatment outside the home in this fashion. Says it's the end of times. Pants?
I'd agree with the chat if everybody was doing it. If it's not the end of times, it should be.
Oh, it should be brought on. The Lord Jesus, save us from this. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think it's the craziest thing that people have come up with to do to each other. I mean, like Egyptians were tattooing each other's eyeballs. There's people tattooing each other's eyeballs in prison with needles and stuff. I'm like, people will do
I
crazy
had
things
no
to
idea
each
this
other.
was going on.
It's
That'd be kind of cool. Put a little
they-
cross.
No, it's like the whites. They do like they black out the whites of their eyes, or
Oh.
they do them in solid red, or
That just sounds painful.
yeah, and freaky.
That's wild. Well, I suppose that's the guy you don't
I'd
mess
get
with,
contacts.
right?
For sure, yeah. It's like he gets his private area on the yard.
They keep the Botox away from him. It's like, okay, I'm going to say because we're specifically talking about someone's rear end, I'll say it is the end.
It is the end of
Nice.
that's it's
The
the end
rear
of time.
end of times.
Phonetically connected. So yeah, it's the end of.
Okay. All right. In another round of headline funny but potentially not funny, They say that U.S. politics, whose two major parties are represented by a donkey and an elephant, is a full-contact sport. But one small South Texas town is dealing with tragedy after their mayor was killed by an aggressive 500-pound donkey. William Bolke had been in office only since May, but was reportedly well-liked by local residents in Hollywood Park, 15 miles north of San
Just
Antonio.
by the donkey.
The San Antonio Express News reports that Bolke was found on Monday by a Tascosa county officials. We'll probably never know what triggered it, the chief deputy David Soward told the paper, but it was evident that this particular donkey was involved based on the evidence at the scene and what we saw on this donkey. The donkey is still reportedly roaming the grounds of Bolke's property while his family decides what to do with it. The aggressive donkey is believed to have kicked and trampled Bolke to death on Monday morning while he worked on his farm. Aggressive behavior in donkeys is certainly not unheard of, and while donkeys are not as popular as dogs, thousands of what a weird thing to say. Thousands of farm owners in Texas have turned to donkeys in recent years to serve as guards over their sheep and cattle. What do donkeys do? Like, what kind of noise do they make?
Scare away the coyotes.
Let's see. Donkeys are hard animals. What does that mean? Oh, herd animals. That's what makes way more sense.
They don't eat much.
I don't understand the jargon.
Kind of bony.
Donkeys are herd animals, but they're also territorial ones that can attempt to establish dominance over areas up to 9 square miles. I had no idea. That's a lot. That's a wide range. Soward said it's possible the donkey that killed Bolke was acting out in this sort of dominant behavior. His family released a statement posted on the city's website, which said Bill suffered a fatal injury while taking care of his prized cow herd near Pleasanton. Bill, your mayor, dearly loves serving you, our community, and we only wish he was here to continue doing so. Well, they're making the necessary funeral arrangements. 9 square miles. I didn't realize. So, like, a donkey could go somewhere and they just decide that he owns his house and the next 5 houses around him.
Okay, now a 500-pound donkey, is that a big donkey? It sounds like a lot of donkey. I don't know. I guess I was imagining maybe 250, 300 being maybe the normal, but they're like a little horse.
Yeah,
So-
I think that's about
Pay-
average size.
Yeah.
How do you know that?
He's a wealth of
Through
trivial
what authority
information.
do these things come?
Well, like when you go
I
buy
know donkeys.
a side of beef or something, how much is a typical cow at market time? Are they like 700 pounds or 500? I don't know.
I mean, if he's
The
herding
state
several
fair.
cows, he's got to be a good-sized donkey, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, because it seems strange that they segued from sheep to cows. I mean, like...
Well, I was just thinking
sheep-
weight-wise. I was,
Yeah.
I was thinking,
Yeah, like 700 pounds, probably.
Okay, all right. Well, it may be normal. So it says here's the characteristics of your standard donkey. Donkeys vary considerably in size depending on breed and management. The height at the withers ranges from 7.3 hands to 15.3 hands. And the weight from 80 to 480 kilograms, so anywhere between 180 to 1,000 pounds. Wow. Working donkeys in the poorest countries have a life expectancy of 12 to 15 years. In more prosperous countries, they may have a lifespan of 30 to 50 years. Well, they do not form harems.
I'm a one donkey.
Hold on, hey, check this out. The loud
They
call.
claim 9 miles to themselves. It's hard to
They're too
start a
lazy to go out
harem,
another
yeah,
9 miles
like,
to find another.
It says the loud call or bray of the donkey can last for 20 seconds and can be heard over 3 kilometers. No wonder he does 9 square miles. That's a heck of a deal, man. Although he can't bark more than once, like the dog goes. "Woo, woo, woo, woo." But if he's got 20 seconds per bray,
Why do you need more than one?
Why do you need to do it?
I don't know.
Once.
I would say
I feel like the dog does it more than once on purpose. Is it only because he doesn't have 20 seconds worth of it? He's trying to be the donkey. He wished he really could be.
Jealous.
All right. I don't know, Pants. What are your thoughts? Into the times, or just we still got some more time?
I think we still have some more time. Not for that guy, but
Okay,
we
Pants.
still have more time.
Okay, like, it works once. Don't tell it every time someone's deceased in the story. The end for that guy.
I'll tell you what.
Jeez.
Stop telling stories where somebody dies.
I can't help it.
It's the end of times. Everybody dies in these stories. Sort of the nature of the beast.
No, I
Chet
think we
says-
still got more time.
Chet says more time. Rick?
I gotta go with It seems like a rogue donkey. If it was packs of wild donkeys killing people at their leisure,
Then we'd have it.
that would
like that movie with the sheep, some B movie that had killer
that
sheep.
sheep.
Maybe the donkey thought someone was coming to inject Fix-A-Flat in him.
Maybe.
dig the pun. Go ahead, Dan.
I do not believe it is the apocalypse that God is bringing. However, it could be the end of that area, because the biggest disturbing part of this whole story is the fact that the family couldn't decide what to do with the donkey.
Yeah.
Why
He's
is the
still
donkey
roaming
still
free.
alive?
Yeah.
That donkey would have been shot dead about 20 seconds after the first kick.
Yeah.
What do we do with it? Oh, look at that. He's beating up
That
Dad.
donkey's been a donkey for us for quite a few years.
just
Who's
guarding his
going to herd the
territory.
cattle? I mean,
Do we have
it's really unfortunate what happened to Dad, but you know,
Hey,
you,
people come and people go.
you saw the way he treated that donkey. He probably had it coming.
We have to paint his whole existence by this one incident. That's right. I mean, it doesn't define him as a donkey. All right, I'm gonna say more time. I would agree, but I'm gonna keep an eye on that part of Texas. If I see any more trouble, I reserve the right to change my vote.
Yeah.
It's there still could be trouble. All right. Let's see if we can do. We might have room for like one or two more. All right. Deputies were called when Jason Gordon Youngblood, a man from Utah claiming to be a Special Forces soldier, allegedly sat in a Key Largo Resort's pool with all his clothes on and was uncooperative with the hotel's security, who were trying to get him out of the water. Reports KeysNet in the Florida Keys. Youngblood, 30, repeatedly screaming, "Yeah!" His response to every question that both security and the deputy had asked him. The deputy tried to get him to a relative's room for safekeeping, but along the way, Youngblood made karate gestures and started yelling "Yas" again before scuffling with the deputy and cursing him, according to the report. He ended up in jail. So basically, he's in jail for saying "yeah" a bunch of times.
And karate gestures.
I like that he didn't break out the karate till they were trying to lead him away.
He sounds like an agreeable fellow. Personally,
Here's what I'm really disappointed. The story does not give me the context of this "yeah," like what type of "yeah" it was. I would give up to $25 to find like an audio recording of, was it like a "yeah" or was it a "yeah"?
yeah, James Brown,
Like,
yeah.
whoa.
Or a Kool-Aid Man. Oh yeah.
Hold on. Let me see if I can get you a picture of this guy. It doesn't go very big. Hold on, chat. Just give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna see if I'll get you, and then you can imagine him however you wish. Here he comes. There's the man right there. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had a beefier military dude pictured in my mind.
No, that's the guy.
That's why he kept his clothes on.
Yeah.
Definitely Kool-Aid.
Yeah, I had the Kool-Aid.
Oh yeah.
I don't believe that's the end of times. I believe that is the end of a bad drug habit.
No, hold on. I don't know if it did not indicate, because they would have had to charge him with that. They didn't charge him with public intox. They didn't charge him with any drug related, like no paraphernalia or anything. He's
Well.
just in prison for resisting.
But the brain cells have been damaged.
Yeah, I mean, if he was on acid or something, we wouldn't have anything on him.
Oh,
He
yeah.
would just be on acid. Or bath salts. See, now the bath salt zombie thing, that
That was freaky. That's apocalyptic.
That did sound apocalyptic.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know if you're ingesting these bath salts or smoking them or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
But anything that makes you want to eat somebody's face,
Yeah,
it's disturbing.
something's-
There's something
Yeah.
really wrong with that.
Okay, so that's not this guy. What are our thoughts?
More time.
On man Yaz himself into the slammer? I'd say it's the end. That's just quirky enough for me to say. This is going like a guy ends up in prison because he can't control the Yaz coming out of his mouth, and he's swimming in full
full
Monty.
clothes, yeah.
I don't know. We're towards the end.
I think it's somewhere in Peter when you hear the trumpet or the guy saying, "Yeah." The sky will recede like a scroll.
This is what I liked about it. This is like Youngblood 30 repeatedly screaming. Oh, it was a screaming "yeah." His response to every question that both security and the deputy asked him. Now, Pants, if you're the security guy, do you feel like you would start kind of messing around with him? He's like,
Yeah.
Hey, dude, you got a hairy back? Yeah.
Did you eat the rest of my cereal?
Probably.
Even if it's golden grams.
All right. Let's see if we got one more here. Wait, what does this mean? Oh no, that's not good. Oh, that's not good either. Nope. I had one, but I did not read it all the way through. That was a mistake. I should have read that one all the way through. I tell you what, we're gonna call it a day on that one. I've made the mistake of picking random news stories and or random websites on this before.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I seem to remember pulling up a Teddy Ruxpin video on YouTube and getting a B word flown out of it. So we're just gonna let those news stories lie.
Teddy.
So like what were our overall votes here? We had 2 for more time, 2 for end times. Well, 1.5 because I'm the only guy that took end times on the guy, right?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So overall, we're saying what? Yeah. Yeah. We're going more time.
Everybody starts doing it. I'm in.
Yeah. More time. Yeah.
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 Actually, if I find a Botox donkey that's saying that on the street, I'm calling it a day. I'm just gonna stand out in the sun and say, "Take me now."
Start
Jesus.
looking for Balaam. All right.
Where's the mattress poles? I know they're around here. Okay, so that's it. I don't know. We're going to be all right, I think, for the next week. And by all right means Jesus is 1.5 answers to be in here. And that's a positive. So let's look forward to that. Those were non-biblical signs of the apocalypse. Here we go. People need advice. Dear Live from the Path, my mother-in-law is insisting that her adopted son and I each write a eulogy for her so she can read it before she dies.
Wow.
We don't think her request is appropriate and have told her so, but she keeps insisting. What do you think? Rick Gray, what are your thoughts?
I would, if someone asked me that, I would just flat out say no. If they kept insisting, I would probably write them something and then not use that as a eulogy and just be like, here, this is what you get, and then go ahead and do whatever you want.
Doesn't that present an awkward situation where you write something and she says, no, I don't like it?
Maybe
Maybe you've been fired from the eulogy committee.
I don't really think she should get a vote. It's a eulogy. I mean,
You don't get to say.
but I remember being the best man at my brother's wedding, and his fiance was quite insistent that she got to read my toast. I'm like, absolutely not. There's no reason for that.
Yeah,
Like,
I agree.
the first time you hear it,
Yeah.
and
Uh-oh.
it's kind of different though. I tapped something, and now we're all question marks.
Oh.
We lost
It is the end times.
we lost like every camera except for me. Well, more me.
Look at that. My light's on, so it must be a computer issue.
But
you're looking fine.
Chet says, humor the old bird. Write it up.
That's what I say. It's not going to hurt anything, You write up, and if they want to edit it, okay, whatever. Then you put it in a file, or let them make it all nice and gushy. They're the most wonderful person I've ever heard in my life.
I would have a hard time not being sarcastic and writing
I
something
think that
in
would
there.
be.
I'd write like a Dr. Seuss
It would be
eulogy.
very, very tongue in cheek.
I
I
couldn't
don't
do it in
think
love.
I could do a serious one until it was time to actually eulogize somebody. I think that's what I would say is like, look, I can write you something.
Yeah, that's fair.
But there's no emotional input because you're still alive.
Yeah,
so
right.
I'm looking at it like you're being greedy and trying to make me give you something that nobody ever really gets.
Right. It's hard to mourn
you don't get to come to your own funeral.
Yeah, exactly. Chat's suggestion is submit one that says, she held on longer than we would have hoped. Pants, what are your thoughts? You going to write this thing up or not?
I'd probably tell her, yeah, give me a little bit. Go online, find some Dr. Seuss eulogy or something. Because I did that for my brother's rehearsal dinner for his wedding. I just did a Dr. Seuss vows.
Wait, because you were going to read their vows?
Well, for the whole wedding.
It was an entire Dr. Seuss.
Oh,
Yeah.
I get you. Okay.
Did that, and that's probably what I'd give to her.
All right. Yeah, I wouldn't write it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it with any sort of love in my heart, right? Like I would just be a jerk about it. And like I can playfully say I'm not giving it to you. Like I'm not going to do it in a less snarky fashion than I would if I went to the trouble to have to write something. I would probably end up being offensive and causing some sort of roast. So I would probably just say, no, it's not going to happen. No, I'm sorry. And like, if that's enough for this person to chuck me from the like she has a choice, right? Like, if when she dies, I'll say, hey man, I really like to say something at my mom's funeral. What are your thoughts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though she was kind of mad about it.
Yeah.
She didn't want that.
Yeah. She really, no, she would have preferred it. You didn't know her like I know
She
her.
read this thing that her neighbor wrote, and she really liked that. So she doesn't want me to speak.
Oh, there's also a nice Dr. Seuss thing that my friend put together.
There's actually a decent amount of them. I just typed that in on the internet. There's a good amount on here.
Thanks, man.
Yep.
You're helpful. There's millions of people doing eulogies this week based upon your recommendation. All right, so quick apology. We got camera problems, so you've been looking at me for the last 3 minutes. I'm sorry about that. I tried to keep that off me if at all possible. Thanks for listening to Live from the Path. We are here every Monday night from 10 to 11 p.m. Central Time at livefromthepath.org. You can catch us during the week at youtube.com/Live from the Path. You can watch full episodes of the show at youtube.com/The-Path Online. Hey, if you need some advice, shoot us an email at info@livefromthepath.org. Your problem could make good fodder for us, and if that sounds good to you, that sounds awesome to me because you volunteered. Go ahead and shoot that over. We will see you next week. Thanks for listening to Live from the Path.
Crazy loving's on the rise. The girl's gone crazy, I see it in her eyes. Crazy loving